state in terms of the fiduciary relationship that they have with the people of Ghana when they are holding out office as Minister of State, Minister of Finance, Deputy Minister of Finance, and all that. We will be able to find that. But what concerns me is how people are able to decide that this is what we're going to do to embarrass somebody, not just to embarrass, just to really, as we say in Pidgin English, to finish him off. So you start, you do one, it doesn't work. You don't assume that, oh, maybe this person has a level of integrity, so let's leave him. He has passed the test. I don't know why they never say somebody has passed the test. They have to continue and continue and continue. So the story here, if we have to rely on it from Asase Radio, is that they were looking for Ken Ofori-Atta, so they did find him. Now, what happened in that meeting in February 2018? Let's go on. So it says they were to have their chance, they thought, when after several attempts, Mr. Ofori-Atta agreed to meet them at an airport in Dubai on transit to Tokyo, Japan. Okay. In the company of his then personal assistant, Mr. Michael Bediako, Mr. Ofori-Atta met the supposed investors or investigators at the Dubai terminal hosted Dubai International Airport on 5th of April 2018 at around 6:30 p.m. Mr. Ofori-Atta was informed that the meeting was with the chairman of Al Baraka Islamic Bank of Bahrain, whose interest was to invest 500 million to set up an ethical bank in Ghana. Okay. The meeting, per our checks, lasted some 5 minutes. Ken Ofori-Atta left very irritated when he was offered a gift, which he refused to accept, and walked out with his PA, who was also offered a gift that was rejected as well. It remains to be seen if this episode will feature in Monday's premiere. That's by Wilberforce from Asase Radio. So the video, what Wilberforce is asking the investigators, that the video that you shot, which shows Ken Ofori-Atta refusing to receive the money and his PA, Michael Bediako, refusing to to take the money, would you now publish it as showing a public servant who has showed a level of integrity? And the report said Ofori-Atta left very irritated. As a society, shouldn't we think about what we do with these things? I mean, shouldn't we think about that? Shouldn't we manage and decide that some of these things we will respond to, some of these things we will not respond to? Because we cannot encourage people who sometimes can have ulterior motives to do some of these things. Yes, we are very big on corruption. Yes, we are very big on public sector corruption, and we don't want people to corrupt our monies in the public. So every now and then we pass laws in Parliament. We have passed the Public Procurement Authority Act is in Parliament. We have passed Anti-Money Laundering Act is in Parliament. We have passed all of these laws to make it more difficult for our people to steal our money, and also to create the level of transparency that is required. So the Minister of Finance cannot make certain decisions without going to Parliament. And when he goes to Parliament, he has to show Parliament a document. If all of these things don't suffice and we have to use undercover agents, let's by all means use them. But when you go to the supposed investigatee for at the first instance and he says, I'm not interested, should you badge him? And when he says, I'm not interested, should you report his lack of interest as well? Anyway, these are questions that I'm sure we can deal with. Let's, in spite of all that happened, in spite of all of what we have said, I believe that the Vice President's response was correct. In the circumstances, that the Vice President's response was very correct. Because here's a Vice President who is a presidential candidate of the ruling party for election that is 2 years away. And here's a Vice President that has also touted himself as being competent and on the path of integrity. So if an investigative documentary comes out and says that I am collecting money for the Vice President's so-called fees, the Vice President's response, I believe, was correct. Let's check out what the Vice President said. He said as follows. All right. It says, okay, let's read it like that. It says, my attention has been drawn to a video by Anas Arimeyao as posted on his social media handle, showing the Minister of State for Finance, Mr. Charles Edubonyi, apparently using my name entirely to peddle influence and collect money from supposed investors. I would like to state that if what the minister is alleged to have said is accurately captured in the video, then his position as Minister of State is untenable. And that's why I support what the Vice President said. Now, he put a big condition to it, didn't he? He said that he would like to state that if the minister, he would like to state that if what the minister is alleged to have said is accurate, that is accurately captured in the video, then he, the minister's position as Minister of State, is untenable. He should be dismissed summarily and investigated. Dr. Bawumia continues to say that I am unaware of any such meeting held by Minister Edubonyi or a supposed appearance fee. My most cherished assets in my life is my integrity and I will not allow anyone to use my name to engage in corrupt activities. That's how the vice president ended, with a big condition that if what the minister is captured to have said is correct, then the minister should be fired. Then came the president's statement soon thereafter, and that also is correct. The president's statement is also correct. This is what the president said. Okay, today, don't they have, can you check with them, please? I'm checking with my people. Okay, all right. So we'll take it like this as well. All right. So this is a statement that was issued from Eugene Ahin's pen, and it says, President Akufo-Addo terminates the appointment of Charles Edubuahin. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has terminated the appointment of Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Charles Edubuahin, with immediate effect, after being made aware of allegations, and I like the way the President put it, allegations leveled against the minister in the expose, Galamsey Economy. The President spoke to Mr. Edubuahin, after which he took the decision to terminate his appointment and also to refer the matter to the Special Prosecutor for further investigations. The President thanked Mr. Edubuahin for his strong services to his government and his appointment, since his appointment in 2017, and wished him well in his future endeavors. That's signed by Eugene Ahin. I like the President's acknowledgement that Edubuahin's contribution had been significant to his government, and this is signed by Eugene Ahin, and this was issued by the President yesterday. Okay. And then there was another matter on social media before I go to one who saw the documentary, the viewer who saw the documentary. There was another matter on social media. If you can put that up. That one. Okay, so let's look at this. I'm not so sure who put it out, but let's look at this. Okay, it says as follows: read this transcript and make up your mind. Is Charles the spokesperson for the president and vice president? What nonsense is this? Okay, he goes on. 1. Someone had their meeting and invoked the name of a big man without the big man's knowledge or permission. The big man has never been known to do that in his many years in leadership. Okay. The big man's aide has flatly denied that any such thing has been discussed and stated categorically that it won't happen. I am okay with the explanation from the big man. He has nothing to answer. Let's hear from the main people involved. Okay. So that's a view. I mean, this is before the film was shown. That's a view of somebody who said that, well, if somebody has mentioned the vice president, because this is now going to be fodder for politics, isn't it? It's a political season, so if I'm NDC, I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to go on and on and on and on about it. And definitely the documentary producer, the investigative producer, has given the NDC fodder against the vice president, and we have to see how that plays out, because the vice president has already issued a statement, said he's denying it. But if you watch on social media today, they have a photograph and they say, I want appearance fee. That kind of thing is going on. But let's see how that space is covered and how it turns out. Anyway, so let's now move on to the documentary viewer, one who went to watch the documentary, and he captured it almost like a news reporter. Let's see what he found. All right. 1, he says, the documentary lasted for about 45 minutes or 50 minutes thereabout. About 75 minutes of the time was unrelated to the subject. Now, I'm not so sure what subject this viewer was looking for, because if he was looking for the subject of mining, the documentary had no intentions of talking about mining. It was just a catchphrase for the headline relating to a nickname that the main protagonist in the film is called. So I don't know whether when he refers to the subject, he means mining. You shouldn't have expected anything in mining at all. It was just a film, like the way people capture the name of the film and call it anything, just so that it can attract people one way or the other. Sometimes later on you understand why they chose the topic they chose, but this is what... it wasn't about mining. So the viewer who was saying 75% of it was not about the subject, there was nothing going to be about mining anyway. It continued. It captured Akufo-Addo from candidate to president and his promises. One is not so sure what that is doing in there, but I can guess what it is. So they are trying to demonstrate that during Akufo-Addo's campaign, he said that he would be against corruption, and they are sort of suggesting that even though he said that he's against corruption, here is an evidence of corruption in his government. Something like that, I think. I'm just guessing for the documentary producer that maybe that's what that's the reason why he's putting out Akufo-Addo's campaign and promises. Also, that this video is so old, you see. It's so old. So at the time they put it together, Akufo-Addo's campaign and promises may have been relevant to the conversation around Ghanaian politics and around the scrutiny of politics politicians. So this is 2018. So if you are doing a film in 2018, Akufo-Addo's promises of 2016 will be relevant to the story. If you have found that a minister of his 13 months after the government is corrupted, then you will connect it to that. So again, the other explanation for why they started with Akufo-Addo stuff is that it is very old. So today, you won't understand, but what are they talking about 2016 for? Akufo-Addo has run another campaign of 2020. So if you want to talk about his recent campaign, you go there, you won't pick 2016. The reason why I have 2016 is the film is old, you know. All right, let's move on. All right. Additionally, he says, they recapped the Nyantechi and Charles Bisu story. Once again, the story is very, very old, isn't it? So in talking about a story of 2018, and, well, that's quite confusing because we are finding out that the filming situation was about the same time. So by the time they are filmed, they had not yet published the Nyantechi one. By the time this was being filmed, the Nyantechi one was not published yet. So I don't get that well, but let's move on. Nyantechi and the Charles Bisu story. Number 3, the event on Edubuahin focused only on him and no other person was shown in the video. 4, some money was given to him for shopping and he took it. People were anxious to watch the documentary, so Ghanaians came in their numbers, leading to long queues formed outside the auditorium. In the end, people were angry at the organizers because the documentary was really overhyped, as he says. Okay, so this is the documentary part. This is the part of the documentary. He said that the documentary was overhyped, and that's what happened at the conference center. So my take on this, and I'd like you to send in your social media comments to Good Evening Ghana official, that should we be doing that as a country? I mean, I don't even get it. Should we engender, facilitate, and encourage this kind of way in which we find corruption? I'm not sure we should do that. I'm not sure we should do that. I don't know how many countries do that. But if we call Ghana a happy home and people are working and we want to find out their corruption, we should find it out. But this way of go and give, and you know, these things happen all the time. And I've had experience before that I'll share with you tonight. The first one is many, many years ago in 2006 or 7. I had some job to do in Takoradi. So I was driving to Takoradi. I wasn't driving, I was in a car going to Takoradi with 2 or 3 friends of mine. And then I got a call. I didn't know that I was on Peace FM. Peace FM used to have a program Friday evenings. They used to do this. They call you don't know you're on air, and they're asking you questions. And then before you see, they play the jingle, Peace FM, station with a vision. They used to have a program. I didn't even know that they had a program like that because I only listen to Peace FM in the morning after Kokro. I really don't catch it anymore. So I didn't know they have all of these fanciful, interesting programs on the night. This was a Friday night. So the guy called me and said some Arab sounding tone, says he likes my program. I said, okay, thank you very much. He says, okay, he wants to appear on the program. I said, okay, you can appear on the program. What do you want to say? He says, oh, he just wants to talk about how my program is good, but the reason why he's calling me is that he wanted to know how much it costs to appear on the program. I said, it doesn't cost anything, we don't charge. And I still say that, I get that, how much you charge? I said, we don't charge. And he says, okay, he wants to advertise his thing, something he's doing. He has some enterprise he wants to advertise on my program. I said, no problem. If you want to advertise on Good Evening Ghana, I don't make the decision. You have to go through the commercial people, and they bring it to me. If I have to interview somebody, it's a commercial interview, they come to me and say, I have to do this commercial interview, 15 minutes long, and we have charged this amount of money. They decide all that. So you go to them. Guy wouldn't budge. He says, okay, I'll go to them, but I miss about me and you now. It's some Arab guy. So what is it? What can I give you? What can I show you? Can I make you very happy? I know how to make people happy because you're a good man. And we kept on going like that. And I said, please, I'm not interested in you making me happy. I'm happy already. If you want to do something on the program, go to commercials. I said, you should call Atoko Amina Dazi. At that time, he was my producer. I said, call Atoko Amina Dazi on this line. I gave him his line. Then, as I was having the conversation, I heard it through the phone, Peace FM. And I said, what's going on? And then I said, I get very confused. Man, they say, you're live on Peace. I said, oh my goodness. So these kinds of things started. Soon after that, a friend of mine called and said that, you've done very well. I was listening to you. I said, but what is this? I said, they do this program on Peace every Friday evening. You're not careful. They call you. You don't know you're on air and all of that. I see Bolare used to do that, but he did that on happy occasions. Your birthday, he calls you. You don't know you're on air. You don't know your relatives are there. That's nice. But this one is very, very dangerous. And then the other one, 2018 or 19, somebody calls me and says, he has $19 million to give to Bank of Ghana, but he's having difficulty in bringing the money to Bank of Ghana. He called me. I said, so what do you want me to do? He says, I want you to take me to the president. I said, really? You want to bring money to Ghana, you want to go to president. Okay, go to Bank of Ghana and talk to them about it. Or go to Ministry of Finance and talk to them about it. Then he says, and he was on speaker, somebody was with me, so we were listening. Then he said, okay, no, I have 54 million. I said, your 19 has now jumped to 54. I said, yes, we have a lot of money we can bring to Ghana, but we want influential people like you can take. I said, we'll pay you. Oh, we'll treat you nice. We'll give you something. I said, please, if you have money for Ghana, go to Bank of Ghana. And you know, young people, you like money. I mean, you've heard people say, I like money. Yeah, like money. But also pray a lot. You see, young people pray a lot because sometimes the very fact of your existence, it annoys somebody. Just that. You have done your own work. Oh, the person didn't do the work for you. You have worked hard. You are the doctor, you're a lawyer, an engineer or something. You're a spare parts dealer. You've worked hard. Your own hard work. But it just annoys somebody who hasn't worked as hard. It just annoys him. So be very careful, and to do that, you have to indulge in a lot of prayer. And that's why Apostle Paul said, pray without ceasing. It's very, very important, so that the devourer, you see, the Bible has a line, it said, I shall rebuke the devourer for your sake. The devourers come in many, many, many dimensions. So for young people, do like money, but also pray that the devourer will be rebuked for your sake. So this happened, and they called me. I said, I'm not interested. Then they said, okay, let's meet you at Labadi Beach Hotel. I think they know I like going there or something like that. I said, no, I don't want to meet you. So you go and meet this person. He has a camera on his shoulder. And he says, okay, so this is $10,000. Take it. Or this is 10,000 cedis. Take it. And then he films it. And then, hey, conference center, line, Galamsey economy. And then they come in. That's what happens. That's what happens. That's very bad. That is very, very bad. And it ought to be condemned. Now, let's get on to the conversation. The last bit of it. It's 7 minutes to the top of the hour, 10 o'clock. After that, I'm shifting to Dufo versus President Mahama. But last bit of the conversation. So the big question was this. If this documentary was shot in 2018, why are you showing it today, 4 years later? Clearly, you must have had an ulterior motive. I believe that Kwaku Baako felt that he needed to answer this question. So have a look at this. It's Abdul Malik Kwaku Baako, and he's writing to Kojo Yeboah. He says, find out what happened within the 4-year period, which may have delayed things. Did somebody steal some of the records and sold them to somebody? Did the lead investigator die an unnatural death? And how did these things impact the capacity of the original investigators? I'm sure a lot of you have seen this on Twitter, but I'm going to break it down in some detail. Yeah, it says, you go and find out. You, the person complaining that why has it taken for? Say, go and find out what has happened within the 4 years. Did somebody steal? So the allegations are that somebody stole the records, and he then sold the records. That's a conversion, isn't it? As they say in law. So he sold the records. Yes, he sold it. And did he? Okay, let's go to the next one. Somebody stole and sold it to somebody, thinking the evidence had been deleted forever. The buyer went out boasting about his, so that's a man, his possession for years, for whatever reason, nobody could tell. Apparently, the real owners or authors subsequently discovered an extra copy. Today's story begins from there. Pay attention, he said. Okay, so then that it comes up like then a major vendetta. Major vendetta between two people. It may not even have been about Charles. Now we are hearing that the fundamental opponents to Tiger Eye, whom we know, presidential candidates, it is beginning to look like he's the one who, in the process of investigating Tiger Eye, probably found this material. They probably found this material. It is believed that he had taken the material and perhaps shared it with other people. We don't know whether he sold. We can't confirm that. That's what Kwaku Baako is alleging. We don't know. But apparently he handed it over to other people. So this material has been in the system since 2019. I've heard stories yesterday about names of high-profile government officials who have seen this material sometime in 2019 and had written it off that there's nothing in it. You know, people have seen this material. So it looks like the person that Kwaku Baako says stole, he took it and then he shared it with other people. And as Kweku Baako alleges further, that he was then somebody, either him or another person, was then boasting that I have this. So when the Tiger Eye people, who Kweku Baako describes as owners and authors, the original owners and authors, when they found that, oh, this material that we thought we had lost, we actually do have a copy still. Listen, fire it, put it out, let it go, put it on air, let it go, let it go. So that's the vendetta. At that stage, I'm not sure it's about corruption anymore. At that stage, it's not altruistic anymore. It's not the moral high ground of finding corruption to support Ghana. At that stage, it's not that anymore. It's a personal vendetta between left and right, between blue and red, between this and that. That's what it is. And we should not allow our society to be driven down the drain in that manner. We shouldn't. But yes, the president's termination appointment is correct. The vice president's expressions of emotional outbursts is also correct. But should we do this? That's a question for us to answer. Sometime later this month or next year, we'll have a full conversation with experts in the studio about this kind of situation and how to extract evidence this way. And then this post was apparently deleted. Charles Niteko put it up. Apparently he deleted it. But before he did it, this is what he said. He said, I'm so disappointed in my senior brother and mentor, Abdul Malik Kweku Baako and Nasser Amir, who was my classmate at secondary school and still a very good friend. Recording people and editing the recording with your own voice over to suit your story is nothing but sheer wickedness and evil. He did it to Kwesi Nyantakyi and the country looked on. All I can say is that we are all in the hands of the Lord. Wow. Hey, there's a response for Kweku Baako that says that you are part of the problem and not the solution, respectfully. Okay, so quite a lot is happening. Different people have but I have to say that when I checked, I asked my people to check, they said Charles Niteko had deleted this post. So I don't know whether he still stands by it or he doesn't stand by it. But he did put it out, and then there was a response from Kweku Baako, who called him part of the problem. The conversation hasn't ended, it's going to continue. My questions are, if Charles Edu Boahen had resisted it the first time, why was there a need to insist on giving him money so that it will be filmed? And is it true that Ken Ofori-Atta had been approached? But if these investigators approached our finance minister in an attempt to test him for corruption, I think that is very dishonorable. I don't know whether they did, but the story says they did. If they did, to approach the finance minister in Dubai at 6:30 a.m. on his way to Japan and say, get money, so that they will film it and come and say that he's corrupt, that is very, very particularly dishonorable. Very, very dishonorable. But let's see how the story goes, because we're going to continue with the story as it goes on. Send your text messages now. Now I'll take a short break. When I come back, did Dr. Dufour clinch the secretaryship of the NDC in Ashanti? Did he also facilitate the victory of the chairman? And how come that Adekoka, my good friend, the almighty Adekoka, was defeated by Ashimo, former member of parliament for Adenta? That's coming up in Hot Politics on Good Evening Ghana right now, after the break.
That's a beautiful dash there by number 7, who's got only the defense to beat. He looks around, the goalkeeper is coming close to him. Lovely dash, he strikes! And it's in! It's a goal!
With only one Ghana cedi, you can win 270,000 Ghana cedis in the Betway Item 13 jackpot. Jibu Hinde. Bet responsibly, not for persons under the age of 18. This advert has been approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
There are days when you think, whoa, today I've earned it. So order a Global. Days when plans run longer. Or days when you can't control everything. Oh yes, Global. You order, we deliver.
A state-of-the-art facility built with your family needs in mind. A medical center positioned for all your fertility problems and other diseases. Medimosis Clinic and Prostate Center. Our goal is to help our patients achieve and maintain optimal health. We have fully functional OPD laboratories in all our branches. Do you have problems urinating? Medimosis is the ultimate solution. Our Prostacure X capsules and Prostacure Herbal Tea treat prostate problems. Afromosis capsules gives you maximum performance. And for the ladies, Femacure X capsules solves all your menstrual problems. Locate Medimosis Clinic and Prostate Center at Adenta Barrier near the traffic light. Ashaman Ajekojo, Kumasi Ahinima Kokobing, and in Accra, Ministries after the Ghana Highways Yard. Call 0244 068 447. We accept National Health Insurance Card and all other private insurance card. Medimosis Clinic and Herbal Center, your ultimate solution for prostate problems.
In the world of football today, everything is connected. Players connect to teams, teams connect to matches, and matches connect to tournaments. And this powerful connection is what makes the FIFA World Cup come alive. Join me as I trot the globe and connect you with your favorite African football stars ahead of the FIFA World Cup tournament in Qatar. This is Star Connect.
Land of rich resources, land of mighty talent, racial tolerance, justice and freedom. Ghana, my happy home, home of the brave and virtuous, land of smiling people and charming faces and glorious culture. I will strive for thee, glorious Ghana. I will die for thee, glorious Ghana. I will uplift thy name in all I think or speak or do. I will strive for thee, glorious Ghana. I will die for thee, glorious Ghana. I will uplift thy name in all I think or speak or do. Ghana, my happy home, land of rich resources, land of mighty talent, racial tolerance, justice and freedom. Ghana, my happy home, home of the brave and virtuous, land of smiling people and charming faces and glorious culture. I will strive for thee, glorious Ghana. I will die for thee, glorious Ghana. I will uplift thy name in all I think or speak or do. I will strive for thee, glorious Ghana. I will die for thee, glorious Ghana. I will uplift thy name in all I think or speak or do. I will strive for thee, glorious Ghana. I will die for thee, glorious Ghana. I will uplift thy name in all I think or speak or do. I will strive for thee.
Also learn to strive for thee, Mother Ghana, and learn to strive for thee. Maybe they should give me some water. All right, let's do the text messages now. Let me start with you. Spanish-speaking lady, what do you have?
Muy bien. Buenas noches a todos. Bienvenidos. Permanezcan pegados a sus asientos mientras los alimentamos con contenidos interesantes en el programa de hoy. So I have a message from Alidu Umar, and he says, Paul, it would have been a big blow and disaster to we the Muslim community if Dr. Baumia is implicated in this Anas documentary. He really shown that he is a good Muslim by holding one of the principles of Islam firmly. So Paul, I want to say kudos to Dr. Baumia for that. We the Muslims are proud and really behind him day and night. Inshallah, Alidu, watching you live from University of Education. And there's a message here from Gertrude Ba Twahene. She says, fantastic Paul, no size, too much wisdom. We have a message here from Aaron Babako Hokomisa, and he says, Anas expose, Galamsey economy. Ghanaians voted for candidates they believe are capable of implementing and executing realistic and achievable policies for the good of Mother Ghana, for a better tomorrow. The Constitution has given us the legal right for Ghanaians to decide at the end of every political term. I don't think Ghanaians went through sleepless nights to form a political queue to exercise their franchise just to experience a persistent increase or negative attitudes from our political leaders, that is bribery and corruption among others. My point is that Anas expose must teach all government officials a lifetime lesson for them to be honest and diligent in their ways. And I believe if we have more such journalistic work, we will have a corruption-free society. And lastly from Aliduma, he says, Paul, I'm so sad and devastated by the Anas video implicating a fine minister like Charles Edubuahine, because I wonder how much a fine minister can use the name of the vice president, Dr. Alaji Degetal Baumia, for his personal gains. This is what we call impunity. Watching you live from University of Education, Winneba. Over to you, Anas.
Okay, so coming through from Nana Owusu, he says, Paul, you are always on top of affairs. Thanks for keeping us informed. And this is also from Safianu Adam. He says, good evening, Paul and your crew. Tiger Eye is a PI company, and like all PI companies, they are driven by profit motives. It is not a media house, stricto sensu. Let's be guided by this knowledge in evaluating the works of that company. And let me hasten to add that those who strive hard to impugn the impeccable public record of the vice president wouldn't see the light of day. Also coming from Nanaya Odro Mensa, he says, Anas is not an investigative journalist. Do not use money as a means of tagging people on bribery. This is what he did in the GFA. There is protocol in this country, and we all know that when it comes to stuff like this, they come with a cost. So if you need something and you want it done specifically, then you need to pay for it. And in this case, you trigger people rather to give money to bid for whatever you want, while the people involved did not demand for it. This is no journalism work. It's scam and sabotage.
Okay, also coming from Mod, and she says that, Paul, there is a video on Facebook in which Kofi TV was interviewing a man who also went to watch the expose, and he said that he wasn't impressed. You can look for the video on Kofi TV page and watch it later. Also from Derek Ton Guma, he says that I really like it when you really do the work, Paul. Keep it up. And from Ayuma Richard, he says, Baumia is my senior brother, an old boy of Great Tamasco. Corruption and Baumia are parallel. I will stand for him any day, anytime when it comes to his integrity. And also from Muniru Yaro Kintampo, good evening, Ghana is here once again for the usual educative political analysis. The so-called investigative piece was only geared towards looking for a corrupt mate to equalize someone. My regards to the Bono East Regional NADMO Director, Mr. Musa Suleimana. And also from Aaron Babako Kumisa, he says that I believe that the government must do anything possible to bring back the price of food items down from the market before the year comes to a close. Whether the government is engaging in a pilot project or not, we want a drastic reduction of prices in the market, that is food items. Thank you.
Okay. Alexander Safat says, if truly Charles Ediwahin was corrupt and wanted to collect or collected 20% kickbacks as shown by Anas and his Tiger IPI, why didn't he submit his evidence to the Parliament Appointment Committee or submit to the President to protest his Mr. Ediwahin's appointment? He who called for equity must first come up with clean hands. We've heard and seen video of some residents in Chado accusing him Anas illegally and forcibly taking their lands. Is he a saint? Only few can see past trickery tests. Lots of people have lost their lives through his actions. This is from Mohammed Sheku from East Legon. He says, all I can say is, intend benefits of oneself, but defend at all costs. He who thinks today died, but he who thinks tomorrow lives forever. This is from Jabir, watching us from Tamale. He says, I actually don't think that Anas's principle of getting his culprits is the way to go. Baiting people to name them as corrupt is problematic. The fact is, human beings are not God. We are made to be fallible at all times. Take a look at this same in his ad. Prior to the play of the expose, he and Anas alleged that, as part of the work he did, contained a lawyer and a chief close to this current in a hotel room in relation to this same matter, but these same individuals could not feature in the 40-minute documentary. Why? Is Anas telling us that he's engaged in cherry-picking in his works? Was Anas lying to us, or he edited that portion out? We need to know. Again, his boss, and he named someone, in his response to a Facebook post suggested that this video was stolen after it was produced in 2018 and sold out. This is how fallible we are, even in his own circles. The work of Anas is in sharp contrast to what Manasseh does. He gets his culprit on their own greed, i.e. and I think it is super and reflects a true character of his culprit and not influenced by anyone or the investigator. And as human beings are not God. Thank you. Yasir Arafat says, I think it is our collective effort to fight corruption, but the issue of forcing people to get them offended is something we should have a second thought at. And lastly, Moses, watching us from Tamale, says, Paul Adembotri, you are indeed your father's property. Love your enthusiasm and straightforward nature that you attach to your job. God bless you. Paul, though I'm not the least impressed about the conduct of Charles Edibuahin in the Anas expose documentary, especially when he mentioned the name of the unblemished, uncorruptible Veep in the whole transaction, when the learned doctor was not even aware of the transaction in the first place, I also laud the president for the swift action to terminate his appointment. But I and many Ghanaians are much more concerned about the modus operandi of Anas and his Tiger IPI. Why must he always lure his victims with money and turn around to fill them? He did this to destroy a fine sportsman, Kwesi Nyantakyi, through entrapment. As if that wasn't enough, he has just destroyed another person, all in the name of investigative journalism. How? Why must he always bait or influence his clients? Can't he do his job fairly without trapping the victims? Money is evil, and anyone at all could fall victim to it, if exposed to it. And oh, I can't read the rest of this. Over to you, Paul.
Okay, we have to go now. We don't have much time. We have a sports conversation coming up. Forgive me, viewers. Some of you are saying that, Charlie Paul, where's your fire today, Charlie? Today is not. There's no fire. I really am beside myself with concern about this whole Charles Edibuahin issue. Not just about Charles, but about the way we do these things in this country. Maybe I should pour out myself my thoughts in a piece that I can share with the graphic if they'll publish it. Maybe I should do that, investigating this. I'll find a topic for it, and then we deal with it. Okay, let's get back to politics. And the two protagonists in the NDC ticket are President John Dramani Mahama on the left side of your screen and Dr. Kwabena Dufo on the right side of your screen. Okay, so let's begin the conversation with what happened in the Ashanti region. Let's go to the publisher. The publisher first published something. The newspaper called the publisher published something in the Ashanti region when the event was occurring. You know that in politics in Ghana, both parties do elections at the constituency level. I believe the NDC calls it branch level, then from the constituency level to the regional level. So the NDC has completed most of the constituency level elections across the country they have, and now they're on the regional level. But just before the Ashanti regional contest, okay, you know, Dr. Dufo launched his campaign and was sort of trumpeting himself as a candidate from Ashanti and indicating that his stronghold was Ashanti. Many people laughed at him that what is Dr. Dufo talking about? Where is he coming from to come and win anything in Ashanti? He cannot win anything anywhere. This thing belongs to President Mahama. It's gone. Okay, but the publisher was the first to come out this way. He said, Dr. Kwabena Dufo's hopes of being elected as the National Democratic Congress flag bearer for 2024 elections seems to have received massive boost in the Ashanti region. Credible reports reaching the new publisher, it said Dufo, who is a former finance minister, stands the chance of getting his supporters to occupy key positions in the Ashanti region. So that's what this contest is about. So we're going to analyze from the story, especially in Ashanti, a little bit of Greater Accra, a little bit of the North, Eastern. We understand that the trend continued in most of the regions around the country. We understand that Sami Jemfi, who is from BA, had gone there to sort of campaign, and the people chucked him out on the basis that they didn't want to hear him. We don't know whether that's true or not, but Sami Jemfi can say whether it's true or not. But we're going to focus tonight on Ashanti and Greater Accra. But our understanding is that it happened in most parts of the region, particularly in the northern region as well. The northern was very significant because President Mahama comes from there. It was expected that his candidates will win. So what's this about? This is about, for those of you who are not deep into politics, so when you're running for flag bearer, the people who are going to vote in that election are those who are in the leadership of the constituency. So constituency chairman, constituency secretary, And then for the MPP and even the NDC, it includes polling stations. I believe that's what the NDC calls branches. So polling station executive. So the executive list you see, they have it at the polling station level. So there's a polling station chairman. So there's Ladade Kotopon, polling station number 1 chairman. There's secretary, there's treasurer, there's organizer, and all of that. So police station executives, constituency executive, regional executives, all of them make part of the electoral college that is going to elect a presidential candidate. So for you to be sure as a presidential candidate that you have enough votes, you must have influenced the elections at the constituency level. So when they come to constituency number, say, a Medina constituency, you will be looking for somebody to be chairman. Your opponent will also be supporting another person to be chairman. If your candidate wins, it means that you have the chairman's vote in Medina. If your secretary wins, you have the secretary's vote in Medina. If you have the chairman and secretary, it means you can influence the constituencies in the region, most likely to elect you or to elect your candidate. So what we are about to assess now is President Mahama's candidates and Dr. Dufo's candidates who won the race. And we have already heard people from President Mahama's camp say that he didn't support any candidate. That's really untrue, almost certainly untrue, because no politician will close his eyes when he's running for flag bearer and watch regional elections happen and he doesn't have an interest. It's not true. He may not have an interest in the chairman, but he definitely has an interest in the secretary or the organizer or something like that. So let's see what happened in the Ashanti region. So that was first by the publisher. Then let's go to a story from Akoma FM. Another story from Akoma FM came, and it's as follows. And this is one of the candidates complaining about something. Let's go to it. He says, if Dufo eventually gets his men to occupy important positions in the region, definitely it would go a long way to help him, Dufo, to win more votes in the 47th constituency in Ashanti. Significantly, the upcoming Ashanti Regional NDC elections, which is slated for this coming weekend, has seen the party members sharply divided into Mahama and Dufo camps. The story goes on. Interestingly, the Ashanti Regional NDC Secretary contest has taken the center stage of the Mahama Dufo battle in the region so far. Ofori Agyemang-Boadi, aka Zuba, who is from the Mahama camp, will be facing Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene, who is also from the Dufo camp, to battle for the enviable party position. Okay, so let's hold it there. Let's hold it there. Viewers, let's hold it there. And my friends in NDC, join me. Let's hold it there. Okay, let's hold it there. So, Ofori Agyemang-Boadi, aka Zuba, is from the John Mahama camp, fully accepted by everyone in Ashanti who saw the contest. And he will be facing Dr. Frank Amoako-Hene, who is thought to be from the Dufo camp, fully affected. Okay, it was to the extent that they put up, to make Frank Amoako-Hene look bad, they did T-shirts. And Amoako-Hene said the T-shirts were not from him. That's what he said. But they did T-shirts. I'll show you a photograph of it. That had Amoako-Hene and Dufo's photograph. And they put it around. That if you're supporting Amoako-Hene, he's a Dufo person. He's not a John Mahama person. Our candidate is John Mahama. So you cannot vote for Amoako-Hene because he represents Dufo. Give me the photograph of the T-shirt, the campaign shirt, and then we'll take it from there. I'll show you in a minute what it is. Okay, so this is what it is. So this is Frank Amoako-Hene here, and then Dr. Dufo here. So they put out this T-shirt to make this candidate look bad, so that people will not vote for him. Okay, now there was another contest, of course. The chairmanship contest was between Lawyer Mankwa and the incumbent candidate. Now, during the process, there was suspicion all over. So people attacked both candidates and accused them if you're a do-for person, you'll be accused of being a do-for person. So both chairmen were accused of being do-for people, that they may be collecting money from do-for scam. Lawyer Mankwa then, I think he lacked a bit of discretion there. So he stood up. He did a video and said, how can I be for do-for? I am not for do-for. I'm fully for John Mahama. And he lost. This is the video of Amankwa. Then I'll show you the results. This is Amankwa speaking just before the elections. The losing candidate of the chairmanship. This is what he said.
This is my prayer. And I'm praying fervently. Says a mayor chairman. A quick Pierre Bafaso. Ama Oman Penida that John Dramani Mahama. Ababaye Frank Baron.
So.
Aha! I said to you, there no go zone for anybody. Because you have a power near Niabra. And you go perform at the 88 years. I don't think I do my me, I think it is a minute bottom scabby. And I will never let anybody. So because lawyer Sika in the Siberia and the women you can talk from. And I told you I am for John Dramani Mahama. You can record me and send it anywhere. I said I am for John Dramani Mahama. And it's a regular chairman. Will be also bring I no go zone for you because we will protect him and I will deliver 100%. Delegates, I will tell you, it depends on my mama. Straight.
So that was lawyer Frank Amankwa. He says that he's for John Dramani Mahama, but he's due for 88. Dr. Dufo is not even 80 yet. Oh, politics is not good, viewers. Politics is not good. Yeah, what he said. He said they are not in NDC challenging for 2024 and go and vote for an 88-year-old man. But Dr. Dufo is not even 80. He's 79, something like that. 78, 79. He's not 80. Then the guy adds 9 years to his age, so that he will be able to make the point. That's how politics is. So, be very careful when you're entering politics. Do enter politics, of course. As a young person, do enter. But be very careful about these things. If you enter with emotion, you're in trouble. Because the guy who says that about you, the next time he sees you, he's going to shake your hand and say, oh, bro, how be? You just have to say, I'm okay, I'm fine. Everything cool, bro, everything cool. That's how we do the politics. You walk away nicely. Sometimes people ask me that. I said, do you know who just spoke to me? He said, no, I mentioned, he said, is that how? I said, but that's how it is. It's politics. Tomorrow they insult you. The next time they call you. Oh, bro, how be? Oh, bro, then they look for this. It's fine, it's fine. The guy said, do for his 88. Let's go to the results and see what happened in Ashanti region. The guy you heard, by the way, is called Lawyer Mankwa. Keep his name in mind as we look at the result sheet. Okay. Wow, this result sheet is kind of complicated. I don't know whether you guys are going to see it. Okay, so for the position of chairmanship, yes, that's Evans Amankwa. Evans Amankwa pulled 572 votes. That's the video we just saw. And he was defeated by the incumbent, which is Augustus Andrews. Augustus Andrews pulled 637 votes. And Lawyer Mankwa, who had declared himself to be the John Mahama candidate, failed in his bid to become chairman of Ashanti. He got 572 votes. It was quite close, a very close contest, I should say. Now, if what the bookmakers said, that this represented a shadow battle between President Mahama and Dr. Dufo, then Dr. Dufo did win this one in Ashanti, if it's shadow. But when we come to the General Secretary one, you see that it was a bigger landslide. Now, what's the story with the General Secretary? The General Secretary one, the story is that the guy who won the General Secretary one, the one who's photographed the secretary, that's down there. So you find Matthew won it. That's Matthew in Jokoni. He won it by 384 votes, and then Richard Ofori Ajimambuedu, the one they call Zuba, won it by 219 votes. That was a very big margin. So this is the story. In the General Secretary race in Ashanti, Dr. Dufour's candidate from day one was clear, and they mounted a lot of propaganda against him on the basis that he's Dufour's candidate. He went to the polls and he was elected. Then in the chairmanship race, people were not so sure who is Dufour and who is Mahama. They really couldn't be bothered. But then allegations were thrown at both of them that they are Dufour and they are Mahama. And then Amankwa comes out and says that I can never be Dufour. I am for John Mahama. Then he loses. What shall we make of that? What we shall make of that is simple. As analysts, we don't have camera. So as I keep saying, we analyze the data. We don't need camera. So this is the data. So if you look at the data, you will see that Dr. Dufour did stronger in Ashanti for chairman and general secretary than President Mahama did. So does that portend anything for the NDC? I don't know. All right. So the next one, though, is the guy who said he paid so much money and yet didn't win. If you can get that story for me, that's the final story on Ashanti about the one who paid so much that he didn't win. I'll just touch Greater Accra a little bit and then ask John Mahama people what's happening in the camp. Are they going to win this thing simple or it's going to get difficult? So this is the story. Defeated Ashanti Regional Chairman aspirant Lawyer Ivan Zamankwa has said he spent huge sums of money on the entire 1,400 delegates at the just ended elections, but he still lost. According to him, he paid $350 to each delegate for lunch and transportation at the conference, which saw 62 candidates contest for various regional executive positions for the opposition National Democratic Congress. Ivan Samankwa noted in an interview on Akoma FM that the total cost amounted to almost $500,000. The league 500,000 cedis, sorry. No, but they have the dollar sign. It should be cedis. 500,000 cedis. The legal practitioner further said, although he was not surprised he lost, he had a glimpse of hope that he will win. This is the guy who did the video and said that some 88-year-old man, why would you vote for him? And he's voting for John Mahama and he lost. So we are going to, so that's for Ashanti region. We are flipping straight to Greater Accra region. In between the flip, let's watch Amankwa's video again. Please play Amankwa's video again. And then we flip to Greater Accra region. This is the NDC story from the weekend.
This is my prayer. And I'm praying fervently. Says a mayor regional chairman. A quick Pierre Befaso. Ama Oman Penida like John Dramani Mahama. Ababaye flag bearer.
So.
Aha! Ashanti region. A very no-go zone for anybody. Because you have a power near Accra. And you go for 88 years. I don't think I do my me, I think it is a minute bottom scabby. I will never let anybody. So because lawyer Sika in the Fidaria and the women you can talk from. And I told you I am for John Dramani Mahama. You can record me and send it anywhere. I said I am for John Dramani Mahama. And it's a regular chairman. Obi also bring him I no go zone for you because we will protect him and I will deliver 100%. Delegates, I will tell you, it depends much on Mama. Straight.
So that was Chairman Amankwa, who was very bold that he's for John Dramani Mahama. He lost. Now, what happened here? My good friend, Komna Adikoka, beautiful man. I've known Adi for a very, very long time, isn't it? I've known Adi for a long time, you know. And Ashimore is the former regional parliamentary candidate for the NDC in Adenta. Now you know the story. Ashimore is not a John Mahama man because you see, John Mahama funded the candidate or financed the candidate or is reported to have funded the candidate. John Mahama is reported to have funded the candidate who defeated Ashimore and who is now the member of parliament for Adenta constituency. That is Samira's brother. What's his name again? Ramadan. Yes. Ramadan, the Honorable Ramadan, is the member of parliament for Adenta, and he was financed by President Mahama when President Mahama was in the chair, and Ashimore did not like that. So Ashimore has since then not been very happy. And this is not Ashimore's first throughout at the boss. And when I say the boss, I'm referring to Adikoka. Adi has been there for a while. It's reported that a very well-known lady, a high-profile NDC lady with a political name, was sharing a lot of dollars at the last minute for Adikoka to win. Adikoka was clearly John Mahama's candidate. So I don't know how this is working in the minds of political analysts and the NDC people. We have all written off the Dr. Dufour challenge to President Mahama. We have written it off, and I think we are still safe to say we are writing it off. But we have to keep looking at these things very carefully because we have seen John Boedu go to the Accra Sports Stadium and fall flat to Justin Kodia. We have seen some of these contests. If we are not careful, we are up for a shocker. We could be up for a major, major shocker in the NDC. First, they said Dr. Dufo will not get anything. Then he wins Ashanti branches. He wins Ashanti constituencies. Oh, they say he won't get anything. Then he wins Ashanti chairmanship. They say, oh, he won't get anything. He wins Ashanti Greater Accra. They say, oh, Adekoka is there. He's John Mohammed's man. Dr. Dufo brings Ashimo, and Ashimo wins Greater Accra. Watch it. I've been doing this thing for a while. I know other people have been doing it for much longer. Watch it. Watch it when you see the thing starting like this. If I'm a John Mahama person, I'm going straight onto the ground. I'm picking my spreadsheet. I'm beginning the analysis. We are crunching numbers. Watch it, my people. Watch it. If you joke with it, it will joke with you. Watch it. As for party congresses, you have to start looking at the tantalizing data. The small data that is hitting you small. Because Ashanti is 47. If you're running a lot of it out, and the northern region too, I hear that the real victor was Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader in parliament, not really John Mahama. But there were places where John Mahama candidates were losing. So Adekoka could not hold the seat for President Mahama. Ashimor instead got it. Let's look at the results. Let's look at the results for the chairmanship, and then we call it a day because Siddiq Adams is here. He's going to tell us about football and the Black Stars, who hopefully next week should be bringing some gratification to our heart in Qatar. This is how the race ended. Chairmanship position: Michael Tetekwete got 296. Kobna Adekoka got 222. Kojo Obimbeku got 4. Ni Ashimor got 327. So you see, almost like Buhari's situation in Nigeria, Adekoka actually came third. He didn't come second. He came third. And this candidate, the guy who came second, Michael Tetekwete, who is from St. George's constituency, is reported had been told by people in President Mahama's camp that don't contest. They told him don't contest because President is supporting Adekoka. And he said, I'll contest anyway. Because he was confident that he was going to defeat Adekoka. He was able to defeat Adekoka, but Ashimor ran amok, the dark horse. So everybody in Greater Accra was talking about the contest between Tetekwete and Adekoka. That was the story. So you ask them, Greater Accra, how? So Greater Accra is between Kwete and Adekoka, but Ade is going to win because Ade is a John Mahama guy. Nobody talked about Ashimor. And when you ask about Ashimor, they say, oh, but he's a do-for person, he's not going to win. That's what they said. And he won. He swept at pools from behind. He won it. So I'm telling our people, be very, very careful. If you continue, oh, John Mahama is going to win. Politics is complicated. You should ask John Boydu about it. Politics is very, very complicated. So this kind of small data should be indicating a lot to you, my friends. It should be indicating a lot to you. So we keep our eye on that. I hear it happen in Bronhafo, it happened in Central. I hear it happen all over the country. Not all 16 regions, but some of the major shockers occurred. So please keep an eye on it. And let's keep a close eye on it. And I have found some respect for Dr. Dufour's team. Because one time I called and I said, is it true Dufour is making inroads? And they told me that, oh, but he doesn't even come there. I said, oh, he doesn't come there. They said, no, he doesn't come there. He's sitting in Accra, he's making phone calls. He thinks that's how I was told that. I shared with my team that we are hearing that the Dufour thing is not going anywhere. Then they have won the elections. And Ashimor, who was not considered, he was the dark horse. He was not considered to be in pole position, like Ghana is not considered to win the World Cup, then we win it. It can happen. This in politics and football, this can happen. Be very, very careful. The other day, Brentford defeated Manchester City at the Etihad. Not at the Brentford, at the Etihad, they defeated Manchester City. Politics and football, they are very similar. That's why you see a lot of politicians do football, Silvio Berlusconi and all that. You see them do politics and do football. They can do it very well. You're adept at football, you can be adept at politics. Because they both had very surprising outcomes. So this is what happened. Michael Tetekwete, 296. Adekoka, 222. Ni Ashimor, 327. That was a Dufour candidate. Hey, this is becoming a big matter. Okay, I leave it here. We'll go on to sports. I have a montage now. Congratulations, Dr. Dufour, if it's true that you have achieved all of these things. Congratulations to you. This is for you.
I offer myself once again to save the land of my birth with humility and sacrifice when I'm given the chance. I want to announce to you, and I'm announcing my intention to contest for the flag bearership of the National Democratic Congress, NDC. I want to announce to you my intention to contest for the flag bearership of the National Democratic Congress, NDC.
It's our land. Jete is a winner. From B to B, the NDC shall lead. Stable Democrat, Ghana, our strength unity.
Okay, welcome back to the desk with Plato and Aristotle behind us. Sadiq Adams has joined us, and the obvious question for him is, Sadiq Adams, how did the GFA explain the exclusion of Jeffrey Schlupp?
No proper technical explanation as to why he was not included in the team. Basically, Otuado wants to concentrate on those who have been named, and pointing out that he doesn't want to comment on players who have been left out potentially because they may come back and the explanations may not be palatable. In terms of football, why and how they were not they are not making the squad. For Jeffrey Schlupp, for instance, from what I gathered, he's not been part of the team for some time now. They think that even when he comes to the Black Stars, he's not had a very considerable good number of games for the team. He doesn't gel well with the colleagues.
What position does he play on the field?
Well, for his club, Crystal Palace now, in midfield, but very versatile. He's typically a left back for so many games before he even was switched to the midfield position to augment their team for quite a number of games.
So he could play the left back in case Baba Rahman is injured?
Yeah, he was supposed to be a backup for Baba Rahman.
But he can also play in the middle?
Yeah, he's played like 18, 19 games for Crystal Palace under Vieira. He's been mostly used as a midfielder.
So why were many sports journalists concerned about Jeffrey Schlupp? So those of us who don't know him that well.
Because of his form. He's the only Ghanaian player. Yeah, he's in a very good form. The only Ghanaian player who's made over 200 appearances in the English Premier League. And of course, for a player of his caliber and making games, and his form and stamina in the Premier League this season has been particularly, incredible. So it's not for Ghanaian journalists alone, but if you have a player in the Premier League playing regularly for a club and being that versatile, he's even commanded much more he's become a mainstay of the Crystal Palace midfield now. So not for Ghanaian journalists per se, but people are worried and concerned and surprised why a player of his caliber has been left for somebody who plays in the Championship. If you even want to compare him to Baba Rahman, then Baba plays in the Championship. So if a player is that much in form and can offer so much in midfield and at left back where he's naturally adept, it raises a lot of eyebrows. But again, he hasn't been that particularly good for when it comes to Ghana, and one of the reasons.
So we're looking for a partner to Thomas Partey. Have we found one?
Of course, I think the best partner for Thomas Partey to me is what we have found in Samed Abdul Salim, who plays for Lens in the French league.
Teenager?
Not a teenager. Above 20, he's 22, 23.
Okay,
years.
it's not bad.
Yeah. And this will be the first time he will be. He was making a debut for Ghana in this
debut.
So of course, he's never been called. He's never been called.
So how did he get called now?
He
plays for who?
He plays for Lens. He moved from
Lens in France.
Yeah, in France, from Clermont to Lens for €5 million this season, and he's been very much one of the top players in France. And Lens are second to Paris Saint-Germain in the league, and you can imagine.
Oh, Lens are second.
Yeah, they are second.
Oh,
Only 5 points
Marseille?
between them. Not Marseille, between them and Paris Saint-Germain.
And he's been orchestrating the midfield for Lyon.
So much for them that he's the best tackler in the team and raised at the second best in terms of interceptions in the French league. And his height, I know you know very well of Mayanga from Paul Manson. He plays very intelligent and blocks the opposition attack so well, and his awareness is...
so he's a classic defensive midfielder, is that
classic defensive midfielder who can free Thomas Partey much more. You know, Partey has eye for long-range passes, and when the defensive responsibilities is mostly placed on Partey, it becomes difficult when there is nobody to unlock him. Look at the access he has in the Arsenal team because of Xhaka and others supporting him. So with Salim, who I think offers much more in terms of defense, Partey will be freed to be able to, explode and join the attack as he's been doing.
Okay, so Salim is going to stand in front of the central defenders.
Of course.
And then Partey stands in front of him.
So we do the double pivot when we have Salim and Partey. It's a withdrawn type of midfield because we are not particularly good when it comes to defending. And our back four have not been that established. You have a double pivot of Salim and Partey, who will be withdrawn much more. One of them will be the ball carrier or water carrier of the team, blocking the opposition attack and offering support to Partey to explode forward. And
so we have on the screen now your 11, Nick Adams. That's what it is. So
of course.
In goal you have
Lawrence Atizigi.
Atizigi is your goalkeeper, not Ofori. Ofori is out.
Ofori is out and Wolcott is out. So
Wolcott is in the team. He's joining them to Qatar, but he's not in the 26.
He's not in the final 26.
So this goalkeeper is from where? Which country?
He plays for St. Gallen.
St. Gallen
in Switzerland.
In Switzerland.
Yeah.
And that's your first choice goalkeeper?
Because he appears to have some command, not command per se, but he knows the defenders much more than all the goalkeepers in the
personally
team.
Knows them?
Personally,
so
because he's been in the team for a long time.
So he's a language?
He's a Ghanaian. He played in Volta region.
Does he speak Ghana? Does he speak Akan? Does he speak the language the players speak?
He speaks all
but
the three languages.
But that's very important.
Very important. But Wolcott was not speaking the Ghanaian language.
That's why people were nervous about him.
Yeah, I think it's also because of his stature. To me, you know, Ghanaians and how we want our goalkeepers like
tall, big.
Or tall and big. Robert Mensah and
Nana
Cranston were tall and big and all that. But so when you are in that form of stature, any ball that passes through the defenders, once it gets penetrated, it becomes difficult. So Wolcott has conceded much more goals, and even for Atizigi, in 15 games this season, he's conceded 24, but he ranks at the second best goalkeeper in the Swiss league.
But Swiss league is not very competitive.
Not competitive, but we do not have, goalkeepers.
So Haas Kotoko goalkeepers cannot make it?
The Kotoko goalkeeper is the Danlad.
But he's not your first choice.
In terms of exposure, I would want him to learn the ropes a bit more. He started from the under 17 to the black met. He appears to be the only player in the Ghana team who has gone through all the ranks, the levels, under 17, under 20, under 23, and to the local team, the Chan team, and now getting a shot at the Black Stars. But when you are going to throw Danlad in the fray against Portugal in the first game at the World Cup, perhaps you would want to, very young, the youngest of all, and you know Ghana is sending the youngest team of the World Cup. Of course. In 2010, we had the youngest team. In 2006, we had the youngest team. In 2014, we had the youngest team. And it's repeating again. So, of all the 4 times that
the average age is what?
24.7, thereabouts, yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
So, we are the youngest team. So we should be expected to have a lot of power, speed, and finishing towards the end of the game.
Exactly.
We should be stronger.
But a lot of the young players in the team, like Danlad and Fatah, who is 18, are not going to be regulars. But the point is that we have the youngest team.
Okay. So let's go back to your 11. Can you put up back the 11 and then let's have a look at it? So we have already discussed goalkeeper.
Right.
Let's start with the right hand side. Yeah. I see Tariq Lamptey.
Tariq Lamptey, yeah, right.
Okay, he's everybody's first choice for
Of course, yeah.
Now that we don't have Rhys James, I think that he's the one that we can use. Okay, next, who are your 2 central defenders?
Jiku and Daniel Amate.
Everyone seems to talk about that pair as well. That's the pair that took us through to the World Cup, isn't
Of course.
it? Okay, who do you have at left back?
Gideon Mensah.
Oh, you don't have Baba Rahman?
Yeah, Gideon has been in a very good form for Alger. And I think that he offers more in attack. Baba has the experience, but comparatively, you would want to pick Gideon because of his form throughout the World Cup qualifiers. He seemed to be in sync with the centre backs, and that helps more. Otuado has been trying to apply the 3-back system, but I am not a subscriber of that because of the suitability of players you require. It is a system that requires players who adapt so well, and if you want to play one of our informed players in centre back, that's Mohamed Salisu of Southampton. He's just made 2 appearances for the Black Stars. You want to start him, then you want to do a 3-back where all the 3
But you don't have Salisu in your
I don't have Salisu, but
okay,
Otuado
but if you have
prefers the
Salisu in there, can you put back this lineup? If you have Salisu in there where you have a back 3,
yeah,
does that not give us a bit of
stability?
Yes. Yeah. And confidence?
It gives you stability, but how you cannot put him there whilst you have Tariq Lamptey also.
No, Tariq Lamptey then will play a double 2.
So
you play 2 and play 7.
Will be on the wing.
On the wing, so you play 2 and play 7.
Yes, so that Gideon, what happens to Gideon Mensah then?
So Gideon doesn't play?
No.
Because then you have to have 3 central defenders.
Yes.
So 1, 2, 3. So you have the left-footed central defender will be looking after the left-back position.
That means that you will have to take 1 from the midfield too. You understand? So you are going to crowd the defense with 5 players.
No, when you have 3 there, 3 there. Lamptey over there, then you pull 1 from the top to the left.
To the left.
That's where Jeffrey Slop would have been excellent. If Jeffrey Slop was in the team, he would have been there and he would have been an excellent
position of
sweeping from the left back into central defense.
Exactly like what Kojo Asamoah did for us.
Absolutely. It would have been important to us because if you are playing Portugal on a 4-4-2, you see, you line up in a 4-4-2 in a game that you are confident about, in a game that you think is yours to lose.
But
in a game that you are going to defend.
3-5-2 is much more, it gives you up when they have not been very well versed.
I agree. It's more technical.
Very technical.
And more difficult to play.
And if Salisu is put in this style of play, he doesn't have the Calista at and the other players he has at Southampton, where he performs so well. We need to practicalize this for over and over.
What about those who think Salisu must be in at all costs? Who are you going to drop? Is he a left-footed player, Salisu?
Yes, left-footed.
So he can play left back? Or he doesn't
he doesn't have the pace.
For the left back?
For the left back. He passes so well.
But those who think he has to be in?
He has to be in, but playing against Portugal, I would want to go with an established team. It counts a lot. You can't go to the World Cup and start rehearsing in your first game.
I get it.
That's basically
So you want an established. So you want like a continuation from the Nigerian game.
A continuation from the Nigerian. A few additions in. At right back where you have Tariq instead of Dennis Odoi, who to me does well, but
Tariq is definitely better than Dennis Odoi.
Of course.
But even with the age difference, you can't compare. And Tariq will be required to do a lot.
Exactly. So
Tariq has the exposure. He has the confidence.
At this level, you require him. They all have the exposure, but the speed at the World Cup and how flexible he is defensively and in attack, the support he can give to those there will be very much instrumental. So I will pick him and then have an established back 4 and have the double pivot of Partey and Samed to protect us.
Okay, let's go back to that. Let's go back to the lineup. So
yeah.
We are now in the midfield. So we have Partey and Samed in there. So you put the 2 of them there.
Yeah.
Okay, then the big controversy is you have both Ayus in the front. Everybody's going to fight with you on that.
Yes, I know.
Why are you determined to have both Ayus?
Andre, because of the big game experience. It's something that you cannot take away from him. Even with his, form and age. He was our top scorer in the World Cup when the going got tough.
Which World Cup?
World Cup qualifiers. Yeah, in the World Cup qualifiers, he had 3 goals for us.
Oh, that was the highest number of goals scored by an individual.
We could score. And even at the AFCON, before he was taken off, and he's the highest scorer for us at the AFCON. When he had a red card against Comoros, we saw how happened. It's difficult with his situation, but in a game like that against Portugal, you'll want to put him there and see how they fare in the first half. You wouldn't want to throw in players who have not played at this level before. And I know Otuado will fancy putting. A lot of people argue about why they start Ayew, but it's not been Otuado, it's not been CK, it's not been Milovan Rajevac. All the coaches who come will want to start him because, you have been in this game to know that when it gets to this level, there are players in the dressing room who are, they're jitters.
They are afraid.
They are afraid
of Cristiano Ronaldo.
Cristiano
Because he's standing
Ronaldo
right next to
comes
you.
through the dugout and you see players who are just, I mean, it happens. So you need players with a big game experience and exposure. It's not going to work out for him all round to be able to run like he was in 2010. But I think that he adds something extraordinary to the team in terms of the
So you're not
experience.
guaranteeing Andre Ayew the full game, but you think he should start?
I don't think that Ayew can make
the full game.
70 minutes now. 65 minutes should be enough. Or he comes from the bench, but in a game as important as the first game
How
of the
important is this game to us? I mean, we've gone to the World Cup in 2006, lost the opening game to Italy, and did very well by getting to the second round and eventually defeating to Brazil.
Yes.
We went to another World Cup in 2010 in South Africa.
I think we won our first game against Serbia.
Then we struggled with
Australia and Germany.
And then did we beat Germany? No, we drew Australia, drew Germany.
No, we beat Serbia.
Yes, Serbia
and then we drew with Australia and Germany.
And drew with Germany as well.
No, they beat us by 1.
But we qualified.
We qualified with 4 points.
Oh, okay, that was a 4-point qualifier.
Yes.
Okay. And then we went to Russia.
Yes. No, in Brazil.
We went to Brazil.
2014.
2014.
We lost to US.
First game.
In the first game.
Yeah, then
and drew with Germany.
Drew Germany and then.
And then Portugal. Beat us by 2-1.
Oh, then we got eliminated.
1 point from that tournament.
That was a controversial one.
So, like you said, this is a very important game. A very important game because for Ghana, it's major tournaments. We've won less than 15% of our first games. We struggled to do well in our first games. And facing Portugal with our mother of talent they have at this point, it will be very difficult for Ghana to. A respectable result will be Portugal dominating play and scoring possibly 1 goal against Ghana. That's always been how we fare at tournaments in our first games. The best we can do is to be able to salvage a draw in that game and look forward to beating the best we can have against South Korea. So, like in tournament football like this, you plan and strategize on how to qualify from the group first before you look forward. But against Portugal and the backdrop that we hardly do well in our first games, we should be going into that game by having a strategy of not going to be humiliated, because that will be a very big toll on us going into the second game. The criticisms that will come from here already, the negativity that will clothe the players going into the second game. So I would want us not to have high hopes of going to beat Portugal, because we know that on paper we are the poorest team going into this World Cup. All the Panthers and Pundits have rated, and FIFA rankings have rated as the lowest team going into the tournament. Some have even predicted that we may not get a point from all the 3 games. So we go into this game at the back of our minds that we don't do well in first games. We are meeting the strongest team in the group. How do we get a point or not get humiliated even if we are going to lose? Then look forward to Uruguay and struggle out with South Korea.
People think the Uruguayan team is better than the Portuguese team, that they are more difficult to beat than the Portuguese team.
Not really. I think that...
I think the Portuguese team is full of names, but they don't really gel together that well.
Yeah, full of names who are informed, players who have seen it at the highest level, players who can change games within the twinkle of an eye. And that's why you require this level, players who can change games.
And that's Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes, the Manchester City player, Bernardo Silva, Cristiano Ronaldo, the guys at Paris Saint-Germain in defense. And I think that they have too many talent at this point. And what we need is we don't go into the World Cup and say they have names. What do you have? If they have
but that then makes Jeffrey Slop point even more damning.
Yeah.
That if you have a player who is doing well in Premier League, played 19 times or 18 times or 17 times for Crystal Palace under Patrick Vieira, you really should be calling him into the team.
The surprising aspect of this is that the guy had quit the national team, literally, and said he had been disrespected. I spoke to a very close aide of him and narrated how he was badly treated. He felt, somehow isolated from the team when he came to Ghana because he doesn't know a lot of people here. But anytime he comes to Ghana, he doesn't feel right. So he decided, and the last time he was invited to come, he went to the Heathrow airport to, get his flights back, and they told him that the GFA had not fixed his tickets, even though they had invited him. So he had to go back home. So that was the last straw. He decided to quit the national team. They sent coaches to him to try and convince him, speak to the coaches at Crystal Palace to get him back to the national team. Then he decides that he's been convinced. The list is out. I'm not saying that the mere fact that the GFA has sent coaches to speak to him, or Tuado had tried with our number to get him, is a guarantee that he should be invited. But if you really want the player, if you don't need him, you don't go to him to convince him and put forth your plan that this is how important you are because of the form you are in. Then the squad comes out, the player is not invited, and sees himself as better than a lot of the players in the team, especially in the position that he plays. Like I mentioned, Otto refused to professionally explain in terms of technicalities why he was dropped, but it's quite surprising.
Okay, let's finish up. Let's go back to the lineup, the squad. Jordan Ayew, you have him on the right.
Yeah. Yes.
Why?
Like I mentioned, a lot of thinking went into it, and the premise is always the experience. Jordan Ayew has not had it easy with Ghana, but he offers so much. When you speak to the coaches, you have I also had my issues. When you speak to the coaches, you have a different understanding of why they keep on starting him in games. You know, he touches 1, 2, 3 balls and everybody...
For Crystal Palace, he starts all the time.
Yeah, why? But the guy tries as much as possible. A lot of the games he runs, if you check all the statistics that they use, the GPS or all that, he's doing 10 kilometers in the game, he's doing 11 kilometers. These are things that, the little details that you do not see. But if we are playing against Portugal, you would want players who will track back more, because you do not even have the attack that's been scoring goals. Jordan himself is not scoring, but he's become a favorite for Patrick Vieira for reasons that he offers so much in defense, in midfield, and he tries to assist. I think he's lost his mojo in terms of scoring. He doesn't have the confidence again. So he's been drafted into a position where he can offer much more. But I think it would be quite interesting why he will start games for Crystal Palace of all teams, and for Ghana to say he's not good enough. So that's the point. He's established as well.
Let's get back on the thing and then see. So I see Inaki Williams up front there.
Yeah.
Is he a typical arrowhead, Inaki Williams? Is he a classic number 9?
He has.
Or is it number 10?
He has eye for goal.
Yeah, but that's not the classic number 9. Arrowhead number 9, classic number 9 is a number 9. George Al-Hassan.
Yes, we don't have.
We don't have a number 9.
The best scorer in the team now is between himself and Kudus in terms of.
We have Kudus in there.
Yeah, Kudus
laying
is
behind
in there.
him.
Yes.
People talk about Kudus as a lack of experience. He hangs on the ball too long, something like that.
It's for Tuado to.
But he said Kudus is a natural threat to any defensive setup. So I think I like him on the field.
Behind Inaki. Inaki is that kind of striker who, not your typical center forward, but with support and incisive passes, he can be very dangerous from either side of the goal area. So you put Kudus behind him. That will be for me. And I have seen Kudus in that position for Ajax. I think that if we have Andre, Jordan, and Kudus in that area, they will not offer a lot of speed for Jordan and Andre in that area. But the kind of passes to Kudus to be able to navigate his way, we know it's very tricky in terms of.
So you're confident this side can beat Portugal? If we were to take a goal against, you take a lead, an early lead against Portugal, do we have the guts to withstand incessant pressure from Cristiano Ronaldo, Bernardo
A
Silva?
miraculous goal, yes.
You don't see us putting a ball in Portugal's net?
Anything in football, anything can happen in football, you know.
Yes,
but
I know that.
I'm sure they will score too, but we'll be able to withstand the pressure.
Do you think we can score twice against Portugal?
Difficult.
You can see us score
not
one.
Not impossible, but difficult.
Yeah, I know. You can see us score one, but not two.
One goal, it will be difficult for an European team like Portugal to make 2 mistakes against Ghana.
What's 2 mistakes?
2 mistakes. Goals will come by potentially by defenders.
Yeah, but we should be able to create a goal against them. We have Partey, we have Inaki, we have a defense splitting pass from Partey. Jordan runs on it, he swings the ball into the penalty area.
2 goals
Inaki
against.
Williams can plant in the back of the net.
2 goals against Portugal. Yeah, of course. And we've been very wasteful. That's one of the things. If we are.
Is the team missing Asamoah Gyan's skill? Not Asamoah Gyan, the person as he is today, but his kind of skill.
We will continue to miss Gyan for years, not for this World Cup alone, because he creates something out of nothing. The kind of striker that every country going into a World Cup will want. Why is he still the top scorer?
I want to say something. I remember the goal that he scored against the United States in
South
Africa.
In South Africa.
Amazing.
How many strikers?
Like
not even Roger Miller, not even George.
Yes.
So he has that instinctiveness in front of goal. I was in Mongomo in Equatorial Guinea when that Wakaso pass from nowhere, 94th minute, limping Asamoah Gyan, the malaria goal against Algeria. That took us to the next round of the qualifiers. He was limping throughout the game. The coach decided, Abraham Grant decided to stick with him, and there were complaints we were on the verge of elimination. A pass from the Ghana's own half, Asamoah Gyan picks it ahead of Marluiti in the goal area, shoots at the far post. These are things, he was a natural striker. These are things that he learned from the grassroots in Ghana. These are things that he got polished in Europe. But Asamoah Gyan is the kind of striker like we miss Opoku Afriye, we miss the typical strikers in the past.
Williams.
We are not going to have Asamoah Gyan again, and it will be very difficult. Afena Gyan was once a player who was...
Is he in the team?
Not in the team. It's very unfortunate, yes.
Wow.
Not in the team.
Okay, so you don't sound like you're very confident about our chances of getting out of the group.
On paper, this is something that's very practical. On paper, you know that we don't have the best of teams, and the most difficult thing is that we've not played for a long time. If we had a team like in 2006 where a core had played consecutively, consistently, Michael Essien has the ball, he knows that this is where this person is, his weaknesses and strength. Matthew Amwa does this, Asamoah Gyan is that. Stephen Appiah just picks a pass in center, turns around, knows that Gyan will run behind the defenders. That kind of cohesion. So you do not necessarily need big name players. You need a team. And we had a team in 2006 with Muntari, the core who had moved from the 2001 Youth Championship in Argentina, where they played second to the likes of Saviola and De Alexandro. So they knew themselves from under 17, under 20 to the Olympic team in Athens before they got promoted to the World Cup. So this was a core of 7 or 8, including John Mensah, who had played among themselves for years. That is what it requires to play at the highest level like the World Cup. We don't. We have big name players and new recruits from Europe like Tariq Lamptey and Inaki Williams, who may be able to change games. But the fact is that they need to play consistently for a number of years.
Don't we have at least one friendly before next week?
We have against Switzerland. Yes. So
where? Qatar?
Yes, in Abu Dhabi before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that will give us a certain sense of where we are.
To know who are Otuado's first choice and the kind of play we'll be going into the World Cup with. I think that we have a chance against South Korea, against Uruguay, and even against Portugal if we are disciplined. And that's why I like Otuado for. People argue about why somebody who is just a trainer, scout, or an assistant coach at Dortmund is leading us to the World Cup. But the fact is that if you watch his game management in the matches against Nigeria, that is what you require to qualify from a group at the tournament. Game management. He's not done particularly well in the other games, the qualifiers. But in a tournament where you need points, calculate how to beat this team, what do we manage, how many minutes are we going to waste against Portugal to be able to frustrate them. The game management, I was in Abuja and I saw it. There were times that players wanted to delay and he was shouting on them, this is not where you need to be. You have to go back into your own area. If you want to lie down, go to the Nigerian side. These are things that I think will help us in qualifying to the next stage. But in terms of quality, materials, and form and cohesion, we are there. We should have our expectations at the very lowest end. Yeah.
Not such a good testimony from a famous Spurs journalist that has predicted many things correctly before. We hope on this occasion Sidiq Adams is terribly wrong. We pray that he's very, very wrong.
We will, because I think we will be able to qualify, but I don't want the situation where the expectations are raised
Yeah, but we are Ghana. We are red, gold, green. We raise our expectations.
Yeah, Portugal had.
We won the African Cup of Nations 4 times.
Yeah, that's
we
like
went to the World Cup and we defeated Czech Republic.
Over 40 years ago, and when Comoros beat you, we've only won 2 games out of 10 in this year. Won 2 games out of 10.
Where are you? Abedi Pele's son.
The 2 games that we won this year
give us 2 minutes.
against Nicaragua and Central African Republic. These are the only 2 games we won this year, against Nicaragua and Central African Republic. So these are things that...
These are the realities.
Yeah, realities, of course.
I'll leave it here. Thank you very much, Siddiq Adams. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching this edition of Good Evening Ghana. I'll be back with another one on Thursday. Hopefully, we'll get into some more details as we are preparing a full montage for you on the preparations of Ghana's Black Stars to the next World Cup. Thanks for watching. Good night.